Hi, and welcome to Plimsoll's latest webinar. Now, today we're going to be looking at how owners and directors can protect the value of their business, irrespective of what's going on in the world around us. As we navigate through 2022 and we still grapple with the aftermath of the pandemic. It's all too easy to lose sight of the value of your business. Now, I'm sure we've all lost sleepless nights over the past few years wondering, will COVID-19 destroy my business? Will I be able to retain or hire the staff I need to execute the strategy? Will my supply chain stand up to all these geopolitical headwinds? Will I still be able to sell into key markets after Brexit? Will my business still be viable as all of these changes sweep across the business world? Now, the number of key decisions and concerns that business leaders have is pretty much unprecedented. Amid all of this noise, there's a temptation to lose sight of the one fundamental measure of business performance that trumps all the others, your overall business value. Like an MOT on your car, or those visits to the doctors once a year that we all have to endure once we reach that certain vintage. An annual valuation is something every company should perform themselves or outsource to a company like Plimsoll. It's the ultimate measure of business performance, and as a key stakeholder in your business, a rising valuation demonstrates a number of things. It shows whether you're probably hitting all of your current KPI goals. You've got control of the costs and outgoings of your business. You're able to operate a lean business, and it helps you demonstrate that your decisions are adding value. So the inverse of that's true, of course, but the sentiment remains the same. A valuation encapsulates sales, profits, productivity, and all the other KPIs into one succinct, top-level measure. Now, one of the key questions that I get asked and that our team get asked at Plimsoll is, why would I want a valuation? I'm not selling my business. Now, as those words are spoken, the sentiment's most probably true. You're not looking to sell. But in 2022, it's a fairly parochial stance. Maintaining an annual business valuation is critical for all business owners, whichever point they are in the succession plans, because it allows you to assess your overall performance and the trend in your value. It allows you to benchmark yourself against similar rival companies. It allows you to maintain a valuation in mind. So if someone does make an approach, you're prepared. You've got a figure in mind. It allows you to take the first steps on a 5, 10 or even 20-year succession plan. It allows you to be prepared for share disputes or even divorce proceedings. And ultimately, it allows you to prepare to build a better business. So with all that in mind, we've produced today's webinar, and it's designed to help you, the leaders of your business, to take 15, 20 minutes away from the day-to-day, to think about how you protect your company's value in 2022 and beyond. Now, to that end, we've developed a 5-step process that will help all of you increase your own value. So step 1 is get a current value and monitor the trend and identify value traps within your business. The old adage, how do you know where you're going if you don't know where you're starting from or where you've been previously? It's an old cliche, of course, but it's one that holds true for any board that's determined to add value to the business year on year. Now, the first part of this initial benchmarking step is to find out how much your business is currently worth. Now, you could do this yourself. You could, just find an algorithm that you think best suits your business and then spend your time wading through your financials, working out which bit goes where and what have you. Alternatively, you could go to one of the many We Sell Your Business agents that will offer a free valuation as part of their marketing campaigns. Could do that. However, as the leading provider of independent valuations, Plimsoll, of course, we always recommend that you use Plimsoll. Now, we can deliver a fuss-free valuation in 72 hours, laying out exactly how much your business is worth and leaving you free to get on with the day-to-day operation of your business. Now, whichever your option you choose, ultimately you're doing this to develop a benchmark of what your business is currently worth. Now you need to look at the trend in that value. Is it going up? Is it going down? Have there been changes or strategic decisions that you've made that you would expect to impact the short-term value of your business for a longer-term gain? If you use Plimsoll to value your business, you'll already have a valuation for each of the preceding 4 years and that trend plotted in a series of easy-to-use charts. And if you calculated it yourself, unfortunately, you'd now have to go back through the last 4 years of accounts and do the same exercise 4 times over. If you used a free service with a company that offers sales, I'm not sure what to suggest there, but it is important that you have a value trend. So once you have your value trend, you can then reflect on the reality behind those trend charts. Did something happen 3 years ago that led to a spike or a fall in your value? Has COVID-19, after COVID-19 years, had a real depressing effect on your value and you're expecting to bounce back strongly? If there was a sharp fall in the last year or two, what actions have you taken to address that slide and get your value going back in the right direction? Now, the final element of step 1 is to identify any obvious value traps in your business. Are there any easy wins and obvious financial adjustments that would offer immediate increases in your value? Obvious things, top of my head, but obvious things like keeping cash sat on your balance sheet while you've got high interest incurring debts, that are draining your profit margin, keeping too much stock in your business, all of those sorts of small tweaks where you can just look at your financials and just get your company back to value growth. Plimsoll also provides a future year in all of our business models, all of our valuation models. So detailing those little adjustments that can contribute outsized improvements are fairly obvious. So in summary, step 1 of protecting your value is comprised of 3 elements. Set a valuation benchmark, understand the trend in the value of your business, and spot the easy wins and make those small adjustments for immediate gains. Step 2, analyse your human resources. Now, COVID-19 and its resulting disruptions have been difficult for anyone that manages people. Everything from furlough schemes to having to lose staff that have been with you for years. It's been tough. It really has. However, the aftermath of the pandemic presents almost a once-in-a-generation opportunity to reassess human resources, particularly with the overall valuation of your business in mind. Now, for most businesses, human costs are often the largest cost, and any subtle adjustments can lead to an increase in returns that translate into much higher valuations. The post-pandemic period is the ideal time to reassess this mission-critical part of your business. You need to decide how much of your profit and your overall value is tied up in wages and other HR costs. How many humans do you need within your business to achieve your strategic goals? What sales per employee are you generating? And how does that compare to your peers? And then how investments in automation, technology could complement or even replace human roles to enhance productivity for the next decade and beyond. Humans are, and of course, the lifeblood that courses through any business. However, while humans keep businesses operational, and we should remain wedded to our principles as leaders, they are the single biggest drain on the overall value of your business. At Plimsoll, we can provide an instant assessment on whether you're balancing your operational needs with the maintenance of your business value. Using a series of charts and written summaries, we can show you how your productivity is adding to your value or diminishing it. We can even show you how your value and its trend compares to your peers. So this step is perhaps the most sensitive, but it is crucial. If you're serious about maintaining your business value, you need to firstly understand your productivity performance both now and over time. Compare that productivity to your peers, and then identify where you can make cuts without jeopardizing your operational ability. So step 3 is comparing yourself to similar businesses. Once you have a current value, a clear sight of whether it's going up or down, and how you could consolidate that value with a few simple tweaks, step 3 allows you to put some context around those simple numbers. Now, benchmarking any performance metric is only as good as the comparisons used. There are a number of comparisons you can use, really, such as changes in value across your market, changes by region, comparisons against key rivals, and so on. Now, at Plimsoll, we recommend benchmarking performance against at least 5 of your closest and most important competitors. Now, these will generally be of a similar size to you, operating in same or similar markets as you. So essentially, they're operating under the same conditions that you are. So, and to that end, are the best benchmark. They're the best comparison for your business against anyone else. Now, the reason to compare your valuation against your peers are obvious. It allows you to see, is your valuation better or worse than similar businesses? Have others found a recipe for valuation increases that you could replicate? And are there any obvious mistakes that others have made that you can avoid? Now, generating a valuation on 5 or 10 other companies to provide you with a focused benchmark, that's always going to be time consuming, always a tough one to do. You need to source the data, build your valuation, do the analysis, and then digest the findings. Alternatively, at Plimsoll, we provide you with a complimentary 5-year valuation on 5 companies of your choice when you get your own company valued, so you can see how you stack up. So in summary, step 2 to protecting your valuation is to benchmark your current performance so that you can, number 1, put your valuation performance into clear context. Number 2, learn from the valuation and performance of others. And number 3, implement a valuation improvement plan. Step 4 is to assess your current markets and then explore better alternatives. One of the main value traps companies fall into time and again is having too many dependencies within their business model. They get lost in the day-to-day of what they've always done, and then they get caught out when that gets shuttered. And one of the key lessons, of the last 2 years has been that depending on too narrow a market segment can be really detrimental to your business. Not only detrimental to its value, but even its long-term viability. Looking back over the last couple of years, how many businesses do you know that collapsed because their markets ceased to operate during the pandemic? They were often exposed to a narrow customer set, and when lockdowns hit, they were left high and dry. Even with all the pandemic restrictions now having been lifted, we've seen companies that relied heavily on unfettered access to the single market that are now floundering. How do you retain value in your business if you're one of the 10,000 companies that have recently announced that they've just given up on selling into the EU because of Brexit? Even those that have managed to retain business through Brexit and through the pandemic have often found that all these increases in the cost of business and the exponential rise in cost and inflation in some parts of the economy are really dampening and making doing business more difficult and less profitable, which is having a detrimental effect on values. Now, all these examples show how exposure to too narrow an audience can severely impact the value of your business. But how do you negate them? The steps to address over-dependency are fairly simple, but without the right insight can be perilous. Now, if you're going to diversify to negate a key market dependency, you need to identify the right markets to pivot towards, because let's face it, what's the point in pivoting towards a market equally as fragile as the one you currently serve? You need to understand the key players within that market. Is there an overly dominant large player that acts as a barrier to success in the market? You need to build a list of potential new markets and decide the best possible option for your business rather than just moving to one. You need to decide if you're better looking to move into a new territory rather than a new market. If you have a core competency, would you be better looking overseas where there's still growth and still market share to be captured rather than developing new skills and expertise? So moving into any new region or new market requires as much insight as possible across a range of choices. As a busy decision maker, you need all of those options assessed and laid out in front of you. I'm sure if you're like most business leaders, you don't have the time to produce this sort of analysis. You need to focus on making the best possible decision and being given the information you need so you can focus on the implementation. Now, Plimsoll provide a host of industry studies and bespoke intelligence products that remove all of that manual work of analysing markets and leave you free to make your choices and develop an execution plan. So to summarise step 4, neutralising the dependencies in your business will ensure you have stability. The PE multiplier used to calculate the overall value of any business is a reflection of how long a business can keep producing the results it has. The more stable, the higher the PE is justified and can be achieved by being honest about the markets you serve and the state of play in those markets, identifying industries you could pivot towards easily and those that require new expertise, and understanding the competitive landscape in new markets and territories. Step 5 is bridge the gap between current and future value. Now, the PE multiplier used in any valuation, as I've said, is a reflection of how many years it's believed that the company can continue delivering its current performance. The top of the corporate tree. It's also an investment in the belief that things will be much bigger in the future. That's the reason behind some of these eye-watering valuations that you see on some of the world's most exciting and well-known companies. However, outside of the Teslas and the Amazons is a more realistic world where companies strive and thrive on more modest means. The PE multiplier used is more modest to reflect the challenges small businesses face without access to deep wells of resource and external finance. However, a lesson that even SMEs can learn from these real large companies is that ability to bridge the gap. Take Tesla. Tesla is the world's most valuable car brand. Not because it produces the most vehicles, not because it produces the most expensive vehicles, or even the best electric vehicles. It's the most valuable because they're able to bridge a gap between the current value and the future value. The valuation is so high because investors are buying into a future of what the business might be. As leaders of SMEs, as I'm sure most of you are, there are a number of steps that you can take to allow you to bridge your own gap from what your company is currently worth to what it could be worth in the future. Now, all business valuations only ever become real at the point of sale and are entirely subjective. However, there are 3 distinct steps that help you bridge your own gap and maintain a future number and not just a measure of the here and now. Now, the steps are: maintain an acquisition shopping list. Now, you probably have no immediate thoughts for acquisition, none at all. However, keeping a list of, we'll call them off-the-peg targets that you could acquire adds immediate value to your business. A business valued at 5 million, 10 million, with a shopping list of 10 potential £1 million deals that could be done quickly, is much more able to bridge the gap. Secondly, keep a firm grip on profit margins. It goes without saying, but having a demonstrable history of profit not only adds to the perception of value in a business, but also shows it's not been artificially pumped for sale. Profitability is, of course, the biggest factor in determining overall business value. And then, finally, identify new opportunities. Every industry has or auxiliary or related markets that they could move into fairly quickly. Now, being able to present opportunities as part of your business plan is key to bridging the gap between current and future value. Ultimately, an achieved business value is an agreement between a buyer and a seller. You may have no intention of selling your business, none at all. However, if the last 2 years have shown us anything, it's that situations change, sometimes completely, often rapidly. Now, you've no idea at all when someone will make an offer for your business, none at all. Or even when your personal circumstances might change, that something might come along that completely changes that resolve. Monitoring and protecting your business value on an ongoing basis is a key responsibility for all senior stakeholders. It will guarantee the highest possible value for your business should situations arise that do force a sale. Plimsoll understands that analysing something you may not act on in the near term can be overlooked. Why would you do something that you're not going to use? That's why we offer a range of simple valuations, acquisition and market monitoring tools that remove all the hassle of doing it yourself. We provide instant analysis and insight that let you monitor your own strategic options without disrupting your day-to-day, the important day-to-day operation of your business. So this final step is key to ensuring that whatever happens to you or your business, whatever unexpected changes before you, your value is protected by showing not just what it's worth now, but what it could be worth, maintaining your profitability, which is the key driver of your business value, and then finally highlighting how that could be achieved through M&A or diversification. So those are the 5 steps that you need to take to protect the value of your business and even maximise it, regardless of what's happening externally. Valuing your company as a one-off strategic review exercise is a start, it's a line in the sand. However, great companies maintain the valuation analysis year on year. They nurture it. They search for ways to enhance it. They think strategically about what might affect it and build their business thinking around it. Plimsoll helps those great companies make that process instant and extremely cost effective. Now, remember, most companies that get purchased never had selling up in their thinking. Another company approached them, made an offer, and a deal was done. Imagine how much better that scenario would be for your own business if you could say to any future potential suitors, here's what my business is worth now. Here's what it was worth in each of the preceding 3 years. Here's my record of profitability and growth. Here are 5 companies we, or you as new owners, could add to our group to create additional value quickly. And here are the industries we could pivot towards, including within the value chain, and the impact it would have on our business. Now that sounds a lot better than a conversation with offer and counter offer based on 2 diametrically opposed starting points, doesn't it? Now, just want to show you a very brief video showcasing how Plimsoll can help you with the first steps on this journey. So that's the end of another Plimsoll webinar, and I'd like to thank you all for attending. All attendees today will get a free copy of our latest white paper covering some of the key topics we have covered here today. Now, if you'd like to discuss any of the topics we've covered, or find out how Plimsoll can help you value your business, how to maintain it, understand new markets, find acquisition targets, and all the other services we provide, just give us a call. We're happy to chat. Give us a call on 01642 626 400. Visit us at plimsoll.co.uk or follow our channels on social media for updates and news. So that concludes our latest webinar, and I'd like to thank you and wish you all good luck.